Greetings and salutations.
Hey guys, it's Sam, and this is the After the Bars podcast. How are you guys doing this morning? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Man, I am really looking forward to today, man. We got lots of exciting things going on. Oh man, I'm excited. I'm excited for this week. I don't know if it's even has too much to do with today, like right now, today, but I'm just excited for the week. Mariana's gone back to work. There was a fire at her work. We got lots of news. Alan Jackson's got a new client. I'm going to be talking about that in a show later on this afternoon, probably. Alan Jackson was Karen Reed's, obviously, her like main lawyer, the guy who directed the whole legal theatric play that went down in Canton, New Jersey. We have that going on. What else do we have going on this week? Lots of Carmelo Anthony stuff. I'll probably cover that a couple times this week. We're going to talk about it today. We do have today. We're going to talk about the chef, one of the Diddy chefs, that she went on a rant. And I don't know if you guys remember me telling this story. I might have told it in an interview on Inside True Crime that I did. I actually tattooed Diddy's chef, but it was not the chef that has gone on the rant, but that's how I ended up tattooing on Diddy. And I told this story way before any of this, court stuff that he's got going on, that he's like been real prominent in the news. I've told that life story for the last 20 years that I did a tattoo on Diddy. So in a strange way, I had a minor connection to Diddy. It's all part of that 6 degrees of separation that we have from everybody. It used to be just Kevin Bacon. Now it's like 6 degrees from everybody. But yeah, we're gonna have the chef, some video from the chef, and we'll do some reaction to that. I don't know, man. I got a lot of stuff today. I got a lot of stuff this week. It's an exciting time to be here at After the Bars. We got a little bit of a growth spurt, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about that here in a minute. And
Real Fabio.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's me.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost had the name.
So he's like, yeah, that dude, he didn't testify against somebody on a murder trial. All right, let's see who's in the house this morning. I see Danette was number 1 today. Bah, 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 bah. Oh wait, I have a sound for that somewhere. We'll just play that sound for the number 1. If you're number 1, you will get the new sound of. I don't know, man. I don't even know if I like that sound. It's pretty cheery. That was supposed to be my new subscriber sound. But we'll use it for that. Good morning, Sherry LeBron. Thank you so much, both of you guys, for being moderators and helping out the show, helping it grow. I just really appreciate all that you guys do, and communicating with the chat when there's new subscribers and welcoming them, or they don't even have to be subscribers, just new chat members, and welcoming them to the community. Man, it's badass. Ben Bacon Bits, I'm your daddy, Ben Bacon Bits. I need one of those sounds that goes You know, like they play at basketball games. I got to get that sound. I'm going to work on that today. Let's see. Welcome to Ben Bacon Bits. I'm so glad he's here. I really need a new line. A new line? What do you need a new line? Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. John Lazan, good morning to you, brother. Thank you so much for being a moderator. Who else is here? Debbie Blair. Hey, man, it has been so long. Who is AJ's new client? We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to save that for you guys here in a minute. Shell Dub, good to see you. So glad you're here. And that's it. That's good. That's good. It was a short roll call today. Oh, Cliff Ann. I miss Cliff Ann. Cliff Ann, how are you doing this morning? I apologize for missing you. I scrolled down and my mouse scroller did like, you know, it does like 3 lines instead of just 1 line. So I apologize. So Cliff Ann Ferguson in the house. I really need to get my sound effects going for that. Because I feel like I feel really sound effecty today. Is effecty a word? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. So, man, I don't even know where to start. So there's this guy. His name's Dr. Umar. He's kind of like a Black Power activist. I'm guessing he's a PhD because he talks a lot. And I don't know. We're gonna let's take a listen to what he's talking about, and I'll react to it.
Carmelo Anthony, how you feel about him getting indicted for first-degree murder?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Unfortunate, but I wasn't surprised. We understand how the criminal justice system operates in this country when it involves African people. You know, nothing is new under the sun, especially when you're dealing with white justice for Black people in America. What I thought was very interesting about Carmelo Anthony's indictment that I believe we got yesterday is the fact that the day before, Art, in the same state, but in another county, there was a Caucasian student, an 18-year-old, who was indicted following the stabbing of a fellow 18-year-old student in his high school. I think it was the Belton High School in another county in Texas. This unfortunate incident occurred about 3 years ago. Him and a Latino student, they had beef. Allegedly, they had planned to meet up in the boys' bathroom and fight. And so some of the Latinos were there, and Casey Allison was there.
First of all, he's talking about an incident that happened 3 years ago, but he tries to intertwine it with the Carmelo Anthony case, like this is the atmosphere, the milieu, the environment, whatever you want to call it. That's going on right now. But he's talking about a case from 3 years ago. It still doesn't justify what happened in that situation, but he's kind of being a little bit of an archaeologist about, comparing these two things. Not that he doesn't have the right to.
And allegedly, Jose Ramirez Jr., I believe he's a junior, rest in peace to him and condolences to his family. They allege that he swung first, punched Casey Allison in the face. Both of their groups that were with them, I think they got into a little bit of an altercation. And they said that
listen to what he's talking
Casey
about.
Allison pulled out a knife that he had brought to school that day and stabbed Jose 4 times. And he was not charged with murder. He was not charged with first-degree murder. He wasn't charged with second-degree murder. He wasn't charged with manslaughter. I believe he was charged with, was it reckless? I forget the exact charge that he got, but it wasn't murder and it wasn't manslaughter. And in fact, Art, he could have actually been sentenced to as little as 6 months to 2 years based on the charge that he was given. But the judge decided to add a weapons upgrade. In Texas, you can add something that's called a weapons upgrade, and I might not have the exact terminology correct there, but you can upgrade a charge to make it
they're actually called enhancements. You can enhance the charge at sentencing. The judge has a little bit of discretion to do that. Of course, he can't, he can't go upwards with a disproportionate amount of prison time when they do those enhancements in the state or in the federal system. Meaning, relating to like previous cases in the past, it has to go by case, and that's one of the key points here, is that it's case by case. And in this case, in the Carmelo Anthony case, are two completely different cases. Now, I don't know a lot about the case he's talking about, but I assure you, it probably was more in self-defense. He was probably getting beaten pretty bad, I'm guessing, for the judge to accept that. Look, there's no racist judge out there saying like, "Oh, I'm going to let white people go and and prosecute black people to the max." It just doesn't happen. Now, I mean, are there rare instances where it might happen, where you might have a judge who's exhausted, has some type of black fatigue, the kind of black fatigue that we've talked about before in previous shows? Possibly, but let's listen more to what this guy's saying.
A more serious charge, and that's what this judge decided to do. Had the judge not done that, that young man could have been home in as little as 6 months to 2 years. But because of
but the judge did do that, and that just tells me one thing, that the judge wasn't a racist in this case. He wasn't showing favor to the white defendant, and inserting his white privilege into his sentencing. So really, the example is moot. Do you know what I mean? But he still wants to say that he's getting that Carmelo Anthony is getting unfair treatment, and this is an example. When the judge seeing that, like, look, this guy is getting not getting enough time for what he was charged. The prosecutor charged what he felt was appropriate, what he could prove, and the guy probably took a deal. Anyways, I should have looked more into that case before the show, but I just came across this morning.
Serious weapons upgrade that the judge put on the case. He was sentenced the day before yesterday. He was sentenced to 2 years, and he was sentenced to 10 years, and he does.
2 years and 10 years is a big difference. I really don't get why he used this as an example. Because the guy, the name of the charge is different than first degree murder, like what Carmelo Anthony's been indicted with. Because it's called something different and it's not exactly murder, he's still getting quite a bit of time. Yeah, it's not life, but like I said, each case is different. And I don't know. I think it's just a terrible example from this guy. It just goes to show where this guy's mind is, and what kind of race baiting that he's trying to do. Because obviously he's looked into it to find something that he could compare to, so he could prove his point. And this is all he could find.
Does not have to do the full 10 years, Art. He does not have to do the full 10 years. And the reason I'm bringing this case up with Casey Allison is because it's very similar to the Carmelo Anthony case. Very similar. There are differences, but it's very similar. The fact that he brought a knife to a fight that he knew he would be having clearly shows premeditation.
Premeditation, yes, to use the knife, but not with intent to kill. That's two different things. That's totally two different things.
I'm going into a fight. I'm bringing my knife. That's premeditation, and yet he still was not charged with murder.
It's because he didn't premeditate murder. He premeditated to protect himself. That's different. That's totally different.
And he still was not charged with manslaughter. Very important. In my personal belief, Art, is the reason that the judge decided to add the serious weapons upgrade is because if Case and Allison would have went home, Art, with a sentence of 6 months to 2 years, there's no way that that could have no bearing on the outcome of Carmelo Anthony's case. I mean, look at it, Art. Monday, Case and Allison gets the 10-year sentence. Tuesday, Carmelo Anthony is indicted on first-degree murder. You can't tell me that there was not communication from the district attorneys involved. You can't.
I assure you those two district attorneys haven't spoken unless they're like golfing buddies or something. And that's like not a very good possibility. These counties are very, very far apart. Texas is a very, very large state. These guys aren't running every crime that they're prosecuting with. They're not running them by like every other prosecutor in the state or every judge in the state saying, you know, hey, I got this case. You know, I see you got this case coming up. You know, I better, you know, hopefully that, you know, or the judge, you know, talks to the prosecutor. He's saying the prosecutor's talking. I assure you that didn't go down. That didn't go down, but he's swearing that it did. Common sense would tell you that that's not what happened.
Tell me that there was not communication from the prosecutors involved. And both cases involve students who attended the same school. So I believe in order to justify whatever they're going to try to do to Carmelo Anthony, they had to give Case and Allen more time, Art. They could not let him go home after 6 months to 2 years.
No, I think the judge, not even thinking about Carmelo Anthony and what he possibly was going to get in the Carmelo Anthony case, that he was possibly going to be indicted. The judge didn't know what the grand jury was going to do, and that that indictment was coming in a couple of days after that. The judge said, no, I'm not letting this kid go home. He unalived somebody. I'm not letting him get 6 months to 2 years. So we enhanced it, and good for him. Good for him.
And try to throw Carmelo Anthony under the bus. And what I find interesting, Art, is that Case and Allison's case is not getting the same amount of attention that Carmelo Anthony's case is getting. You don't see the same type of outcry. You know, his family isn't getting death threats. The judge was not being criticized and condemned for reducing bail, because Case and Allison also had his bail reduced, Art. Nobody said nothing. But when the sister judge reduced bail for Carmelo Anthony, there was a national outcry. And I just think these two cases continue to show us, as African people in America, the double standard that exists at the heart of the American criminal injustice system. Now, looking at Carmelo Anthony.
Now, I don't think there's a double standard with the criminal justice system. I mean, yes, by percentage, there are more African Americans in prison than whites per percentage per, what's the word? It's, you know, the size of the population. Yeah, it's a higher percentage, but there's definitely an equal amount of whites, Mexicans, and African Americans in prison. There's no, but the, you know, there's a smaller black population in our country, and so percentage wise, yes, it's a lot more. But where I think the double standard is just in the reporting on what gets reported, not in the justice system himself. He's saying two different things in the same sentence.
Art. The video was released on the school district's website. I have not seen the video. They are requiring that you register on the website.
Not true.
If what I've been told is accurate, And then when you
It wasn't.
register, they will grant you access to view the video. But the video has not been made available for people to see it conveniently on YouTube or anywhere else. And my question, Art, if you're so convinced that Carmelo Anthony did not have a right to stand his ground, if you're so convinced that he engaged in premeditated first-degree murder, why not show the video for all to see? Why are you only putting it on a certain platform and making people register in order to watch this video?
I would love to debate this guy, like face-to-face debate this guy, face-to-face, camera to camera, whatever. I would love to, because all I would do I would just have to fact check him, because like a lot of his facts are wrong and aren't they don't it's nothing is the same as, and he's doing a same as comparison.
Why do you need the names of everyone who views this video, Art? To me, they have something to hide. Because as you know, Art, when Black people commit crimes, they put it on the internet within weeks. It's out there. When we are guilty, Art, as you know, they put it out there for everybody to see.
Not true. It's just not true. I mean, a little bit. It's true to, yeah. Crimes get put out there, the video of the crimes, but usually not pre-prosecution. What does get put out there, unfortunately, is when young African Americans get unalived by police officers and whites. That those videos don't come to light for some crazy reason. And so I can see a little bit of racism in that, and I'm not talking about the cops killing African Americans. I think a lot of times it's justified. There have been a few times where it hasn't been justified, more than a few times where it hasn't been justified. And so, of course, those do come on YouTube. Those do come get played on the news and make it onto the internet, especially when they're not justified. And good, because then those police officers get to go to jail. Absolutely.
Why are they being so careful and so particular about releasing the Carmelo Anthony quote unquote stabbing video? Why are you not showing it? Why is it not on YouTube?
Well, because it's evidence. That's why they're not showing it. And you don't have to register to watch it on the internet, so they can have every name of every person that views it. You do have to be a member of the media, and you do to watch the what grainy, blurry, far away, distant, 1,000-yard away off video that they have. You have to be part of the media, and you do have to register your media credentials, but it's not done online. You have to go there in person to view it. It's not something that you can do online. So his information is completely incorrect.
Has it not been released to TMZ, to CNN,
because
to
it's evidence,
C-SPAN, to Headline News, to USA Today, to the New York Times, to the LA Times? Why is it not being shown on these mainstream white-owned media platforms? And I believe it's because, number one, you either manipulated the video and people might be able to tell.
Normally I would say, sorry to keep stopping it, guys. Normally I would say nobody's manipulating video to show that Austin Metcalf didn't attack Carmelo Anthony, and so his self-defense case isn't proportionate. Normally I would be like going, dude, you're delusional, man. Like, how do you even have a PhD? But we just had the Karen Reed case, so it'd be disingenuous for me to say, like, oh, that's crazy, that would never happen, knowing that no, that does happen, that just happened with the Karen Reed case. So I, I would be remiss, I guess.
I'm not saying they did it, Art. I'm saying that I'm suspicious of the possibility that the video may have been doctored, because why can it only be seen on your website? And you can't use the excuse that these were school-age children. And the reason you can't use that excuse, Art, is because you can redact their faces. You can redact their faces and still show the video. So you can't use that. You can redact their faces and still show the video. So I don't know why they're being so selective about who watches this video, but they're never that protective of a black child. And they're clearly not protecting
Because it's evidence, man. It's evidence in a murder case. That whenever there's evidence, video footage for evidence, it doesn't get released to the media unless it's, snuck to the media, fed to the media, illegally, done illegally by maybe someone in the prosecution's office.
Carmelo Anthony, because they want to see the young man spend the rest of his life in jail. So I believe that video, if it is shown in its entirety as it happened, will reveal some evidence that will lead a lot of people to believe that Carmelo Anthony, in fact, was justified in standing his ground and defending his life. And the one thing that came out since our last conversation, Art, was the incident took place on the bleachers. I didn't know the incident took place on the bleachers. So not only do you have Carmelo Anthony minding his business under this tent on the bleachers, these two racist white children, and again, I'm sorry for the loss of the son to the parents. I'm sorry he's gone, whether he's black, white, red, yellow, or brown. Nobody deserves to be predeceased by their children. I want to be clear about that. But with that being said, you have these two white boys, athletes, who weigh more than Carmelo does, who come to him. They have a history of bullying students, Art. That's another thing that has come out in this.
Where did that come out at? On Twitter? Some Carmelo Anthony supporters making things up that these two guys are bullies. That's absolutely not true. That's absolutely not. And I don't even think anything has come out like that. Now, they have said they were racist and they showed them with guns, with the hunting, like they're on some white supremacist militia compound in Idaho. But they're really just hunting in Texas. And so they're all in camouflage with their hunting rifles. And that supposedly is a white supremacist photo. Shame on this dude for calling those boys racist. Shame on him. There's actually been proof to the absolute opposite of Austin Metcalf. Like, his best friend was black. He played on a mostly black football team. Well, I think it was more like 50-50, but there was a lot of he had a lot of black friends on the football team, and they all were crying and posting that they lost their brother. So he's just by that one last statement he made, totally discounts anything that even might have been true in the previous 9 minutes, because now you know where his agenda is, where he stands. Like, you can tell by the way he's dressed that's the message he's going to push, that everything's about race, no matter what it is. He's going to be on some black power time, and look, he has the free speech to do so. He absolutely does. But you can't lie and race bait to prove your side or your point, because what he's standing on, some of it, he's just told so many non-truths and unfactual things that I can't even give him a little bit of credit, which I normally would do. I'd be like, yeah, your points aren't not true in our society. Like, some of those things do happen and it's an issue, but I can't even give him that much credit because most of his facts are wrong and he's making things up, right? So, wow. Do I have a game over? Oh, yeah, I do. Wow. That's not even the sound I wanted to play.
They have a history
it works.
of bullying students. This is not the first time. And I'm being told that they threw, and again, I didn't see the video, but people are telling me that they threw Carmelo Anthony or attempted to throw Carmelo Anthony down on the bleachers. Other people are arguing that the video does not show that. Some of these Sambos are arguing that
now he's using racial slurs.
There was no altercation at all. So I'm saying to that, Art, there may not have been a physical altercation, but if they came over and entered Carmelo Anthony's space, clearly that is a behavior of aggression. Two white kids approaching a black kid coming into his personal space. That is clearly an act of aggression, whether you touched him or not. And depending on what they said to Carmelo Anthony, Art, which will come out in the trial, depending on what they said to Carmelo Anthony, if they did not, in fact, put hands on him, what they said to him in the form of a threat could have alerted him to the potential for violence and harm, which again would have justified him standing his ground. So I'm saying here and now, whether they physically accosted him or not, he may have still been justified to stand his ground, given the fact that he was face to face with two racists who were larger than he was, who were threatening to remove him, and he felt he only had one opportunity to defend himself. So whether they touched him or not, I'm standing 10 toes down for Carmelo Anthony and his family.
Sorry, 10 out of 10, you got to take that ass whooping without killing someone. If you can't fight, if you can't use these, you got to take that ass whooping and let it be gone. Unless you're getting like pounded out, bam, 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 you run away and they come grab you again and pam, pam, pam. Maybe then you can stand your ground and unalive somebody. But you got to take that ass whooping. If you're not willing to take that ass whooping, then you should even you shouldn't have went over there to because he knew it was going to start a confrontation. It wasn't his school's tent. He shouldn't have been there. That's already been proven, 10 times. Those two boys weren't racist. And really, it was just Austin that said something to him and stood up. His brother just sat there until Carmelo started saying, "Don't touch me. I have something in my bag. Don't touch me. Don't touch me." And I don't know, because he said he had a weapon in his bag. I think from what I'm doing, I'm listening to all the witness statements that have come out and the media who's talked about seeing the video, which they can barely see anything. They think they see mostly is that Austin might have never threw a punch, never grabbed him, but did try to take his backpack because he threatened with a weapon. And then that's when Carmelo took the knife out and stabbed him in the chest.
And how do you get a first-degree indictment, Art? How does the grand jury come back with a first-degree indictment? Carmelo for murder, first-degree murder.
Because the force doesn't match the threat. Plain and simple. They weren't equal. They were so upside down. It's not even funny. You have to take the ass whooping. I'm gonna make a shirt that says that. Take that ass whooping and don't go to prison.
Indictment. Carmelo Anthony didn't know he was going to get into a fight with them that day. He didn't know they was going to come over to him and try to remove him from the tent. He didn't know that them two racist white kids were going to try to throw him down on the bleachers. So how did he get first degree, Art? I don't even think he should have had second degree either. But first degree, when you got another kid a few counties over in the same state who took a knife to a fight that he knew he would be having and stabbed the kid 4 times inside of a school, Art, when he could have ran and told a teacher, ran and told a security guard, ran and told the principal? Instead of doing that, he stabs the kid, but he don't get a murder charge. He don't get a manslaughter charge. I think he gets criminally negligent homicide or something like that, Art. I can't remember the exact charge, but it wasn't first-degree murder, second-degree murder. It wasn't even manslaughter. So how do you explain that? And I do believe the stabbing took place in a school bathroom. I believe it did. Don't quote me on that. It could have been off campus, but I think it was on campus. Okay, so how does he only get this charge?
Thinks it was. Maybe it was off campus. I really want to look this case up now. I got to look this case up now. Nothing even closely resembles the Carmelo Anthony case to do a side-by-side comparison.
Which could have sent him home in 6 months to 2 years, and Carmelo Anthony out the gate for an incident that he could not have predicted would happen on that day is being charged with first-degree murder. This is clearly a case of unfair justice.
Yeah, it's definitely unfair. I couldn't believe it when I first heard it.
Listen to
that he
the
got
interviewer.
indicted on first-degree murder.
Because he can go to jail for the rest of his life, Art. Carmelo Anthony, God forbid, ancestors forbid, divinities forbid, Carmelo Anthony can go to jail for the rest of his life. Art, how do you explain that when you have another kid who does not get charged with first-degree murder, stabs the kid 4 times at a fight he knew he was going to be having and brought a knife for that purpose, but he don't get first-degree murder charge in the same state? The double standard of black-white justice.
So, and then the interviewer just agrees with him and like, yeah, man, this is crazy, man. Yeah, it's all garbage. So I've said enough about what this guy's talking about. But it's just a narrative that Dominique Alexander, the family spokesperson, it's the same narrative he's putting out, but not as eloquently as this guy. I've met so many guys like this in prison. They won't even talk to anyone white. They somewhere down the line they probably experienced some real racism, and that they have a new cognitive distortion that's been that they've learned externally, and now they've internalized that cognitive distortion of it's catastrophizing every little thing, and then just focusing in on the one issue that they've already made up in their mind from whatever racism that they've internalized, from their past, that now that's what it's become. Or they have someone in their ear, kind of like the Colin, what was that football player's name that became white power? He played for San Francisco. What was that guy's name? He was taking knees at NFL games and things like that. I'm going to go to the chat. Hey, when do you guys tell me what's that football player's name? Well, anyways, I'm going to use him as an example. He grew up in a affluent white neighborhood and then became this guy because of a woman, of a girl. And I'm not saying women in general, but I'm saying like a black power racist woman. He fell in love with that woman. And Colin Kaepernick, I was going to say Kaepernick, but I thought I was wrong. But yeah, so, sorry, ladies. Well, not sorry, ladies. The women have a lot of power. If you're in love with a woman, like I always say this, if my wife's a vegetarian, I'm pretty much vegetarian, because she's not going to be cooking, anything for me that's meat. If she's cooking dinner, she's going to cook for her to eat. And if she's a vegetarian, that pretty much makes me a vegetarian. I guess if I fall in love with a black power chick, that pretty much makes me black power. Although, of course, none of that statement makes any sense at all. Yeah, but thanks, guys. I knew you guys would come up with it like right away. Yeah, that's me. Black power, black power. Let's go to so I need to I gotta play these a little bit because I can't remember why I chose to, because I have so many. I just always I can't remember why I chose these. Oh yeah. I love these guys. Words so sharp they cut right. So this is what the and I'm not saying these guys are intelligent, because that Dr. Umar, whatever his name was, he was an intelligent guy. He's just misguided. He's just been indoctrinated, or his ideology, whatever, externally learned and has become internal, that he just can't think any other way. But this is the real Black America for the most part, comes from the righteous perspective, and these guys are always on point. They call racism when racism is supposed to be identified, or when it's justified. And let's listen to these guys just for a second. I just love what they had to say about the Carmelo Anthony case.
So we're going to get things kicked off, man. Let me bring my folks up in here. I want to read this for you guys, and then I want to get your take on it. Dominic Alexander, he wrote this post on X. It came out yesterday. It says, stop spreading the lies. Let's set the record straight. The amount of wild and false information being spread across social media is completely out of control. Carmelo Anthony did not submit a request for a court-appointed attorney. That is a flat-out lie. When a case is indicted in Collin County, the court system automatically generates an indigent.
Sorry, I got to stop this real quick. Miss Sparkle says, doesn't matter how he grew up. He's not being racist. He saw the injustice, racism in the NFL and took a stance. Miss Sparkle, I don't know what injustice or racism you're talking about that happened in the NFL. I see a lot of African-American football players that are making millions and millions of dollars, more money than 80% of the white NFL players. So I don't know if that is really a true statement what you made. I don't think I called, well, maybe I did accidentally call Colin Kaepernick a racist, but he was I don't want to call him a racist at all, actually, but he definitely fell in love with the woman he fell in love with was absolutely racist. She's a race baiter. And I did a whole video on how race baiting is racism. And in my opinion, I'm sorry we don't agree on that, but that's we can disagree a little bit. But I would love, if you want to come on the show, you could tell me how Colin was what racism that he identified, and you can change my mind on it, and I'll admit that I'm wrong. Absolutely. But I don't really know where the racism is in the NFL. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the video, and thank you so much for the comment. And I will take comments and questions when we get to the end of the topic.
Defense, this happens for everyone, regardless of whether they already have a private attorney. It's standard system process. It says Attorney Mike Howard remains in constant communication with the Collin County District Attorney's Office and is still actively on the case. We don't know who started this ridiculous rumor, but it's clear right-wing journalists and social media influencers are intentionally spreading lies to confuse the public, create chaos, and attack this family. These false narratives are being used for clickbait, clout, and white supremacist agendas. Please don't fall for it. This is not journalism. it's manipulation. And he goes on to say, we're not litigating this case on social media. We are not responding to every video or post. We are not going to play into their trap. Now, this came out, request an attorney, and it says that a defense attorney is.
So basically what they're talking about is that they're Dominique Alexander, the minister that is their spokesperson, said that no, that it's automatic. You know, they have money for a lawyer. It's automatic that they in Texas that they put in the application for it's not automatic. It's definitely not automatic. I've been to Texas and I cover a lot on my legal channel, Legal Livewire Court Watch, a lot of Texas judges. My channel is mostly Texas judges. And when they have their arraignment or they're doing the probable cause hearing, they always say, what do you do for a living? Do you need to apply for counsel for a lawyer? Well, here, go over there and fill out the form and we'll have a quick hearing on it. And then we'll decide if we're going to assign you counsel or if you can afford counsel. It's never automatic. Carmelo Anthony filled out an application for a lawyer.
It's not assigned automatically. You will need to ask the court to.
But look, Dominique Alexander is no good. He's no good. He's a baby shaker. He's a domestic violence. He's a thief. He's a con man. And that's all proven by his criminal record. Now, look, like I have a criminal record too, but I'm not trying to be a minister and a spokesperson for the black race or the white race.
Point one for you, you'll need to fill out a written application and show evidence that you can't afford to pay for a lawyer. And this came out via, TexasLawHelp.org. So with that being said, we got all that out the way. Dave, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? You can go with this wherever you want to go. But when the word came out last week that they upped the gifts and go from the 500,000 to the 1.4 million, I want to hear what your thoughts are on that. And this particular statement that came out from Dominique Alexander, you can go with this wherever you want to go. What are your thoughts, Dave?
The first thing I want to say is I get kind of tired.
I just wanted to cover the Dominique Alexander statement and then what these guys had to say about that statement, that everything that we covered last week was false. When I talked about them adding more money to the gifts and go.
Tired of living in the 1980s, meaning when I was a kid, I'd watch TV and I'd see these commercials and there's a woman who fell down and she says, I've fallen and I can't get up. And then that's followed by a bunch of commercials about, if you've been injured, call the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham and Howe. There's always some leading black Negro that nobody ever heard of who calls himself Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Dr. Do, Funny Bishop. And by the way, black people, unless you're Lutheran or
he said funny bishop,
Catholic, there's no such thing as a Baptist bishop. We got to stop this hustle. I am tired of these folks running around here as a man of the cloth and as a theologian. I got an issue with people using God in order to get checks, because that's not restorative. That's not justice. The other part of that is when you are raising additional money, and we know for a fact that you got a new whip. We know for a fact that you got a new crib.
He sure did get a new whip. Look at this, guys. Wow. 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 A Lexus. Oh boy, got a Lexus. That's crazy. Denny Jackson says that was a lot. I'm going to get to the comments here in a minute. I'm totally interested in what you guys are talking about. For sure. How do we know for a fact that anyone was bullying for weeks? How do you know they were racist? Fact that anyone was bullying for weeks. There was no bullying. How do we know for a fact that no one? Yeah, that it hasn't come out. No one is saying that. He literally made that up. No one is saying, except for maybe in some like sideways Twitter account where they've already generated these AI interviews with the dad using the N-word, maybe on some of those, like weird propaganda type you know, anti-accounts. That's the only place that ever could have been said, or it's someone in that doctor's ear that's saying that. Here, I'm going to get to the chat because we're talking about some serious stuff. So I didn't mean for it to get like this serious. I was just kind of like reporting on what was being said. And I just wanted to talk about that doctor for a second, because when this guy is talking about race, this guy right here, when he's talking about race, that's, let me find it. Hold on, guys. I gotta find it. Dang it. Dang, I can't find it now. Well, anyways, when Dr. Umar is talking about racial stuff, and I had a clip of when he's talking about race, he wears that outfit. When he's talking about other things, he doesn't that's not his daily wear. Do you know what I mean? He's dressed more like my black friends that that wear sports gear and you know what I mean? But I get it. You can talk and you can dress any way you like. I'm not saying he can't do that. I'm just saying that he's like pushing. It's just he wants to put whatever the narrative he's pushing. He's trying to fit that narrative. He's like he's being a chameleon to that topic, I guess. I don't know what I'm talking about. What do I know? I don't know anything. All right, let's here we go. Wolf says, question, Sam, did you hear the father's interview? He basically said he knew Carmelo was going to be in an altercation and then drove him to the school. I mean, he's saying that now. He didn't say that at first. Yeah, and he said he gave him a cleat sharpener. I've heard two different stories that the dad said he gave him the knife. He's trying to take a little bit of responsibility away from Carmelo. That the very, very first interview, he didn't say that. That's not what he said. But I did see that. I did see the interview. But it's his lawyers are definitely. It's just like with Karen Reed. Like the lawyers were definitely having her, push a certain narrative or their family or whatever, you know what I mean? There's strategy. It's a chess game. And I believe it's, in my opinion, I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm stating fact. These are all my opinions. I'm a reaction channel. I'm a news channel. I almost said news and politics. I'm not really doing politics anymore. Except for when I have to. This is all just my opinion. And who am I? I'm just a YouTube guy. So, but I won't lie. I definitely won't lie. And I will call out lies when I see them. And when I have proof that they are lies. And, I can't prove that the father didn't, know that Carmelo was going to be in an altercation and then drove him to the school. I mean, it's almost, you can almost prove that that's a lie just by the incident in itself. Carmelo went and sat in an opposite school's tent where the sport team has where they sit and have all their stuff. Technically, he did not have a right to be there. He just didn't. And he was like, hey, and a non-racist white boy went over there and said, hey, bro, can you leave? I don't know if he said it that nicely. I bet you he did, though. I bet you he did. So, yeah, I've seen that. Do we have any other questions or comments so I don't have to go too far back? That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Look, I've said it before. I don't want Carmelo Anthony to do life in prison. I absolutely do not. I absolutely do not. And the Metcalf family would probably be pretty mad at in my opinion about this. I think he should do about 15 to 20 years. And, you know, hopefully he doesn't fall into the look. Carmelo already has, wants to be a gangster, wants to be a gang member. He does. We've seen those pictures with him with the rifle and the money and throwing up that gang sign, the folks, not the folks, but the Vice Lord gang sign, the insane Vice Lord. He's actually throwing up that gang sign when he's not in the gang. And I did a whole show on what gangs are waiting for him in the Texas prison. He does not have an easy road ahead of him. He doesn't. And I prayed. I should put him back on my prayer list. I'm sorry. I have to make a prayer list for the things I pray for, or else I don't pray for anything. My mind races so heavily that I just can't, you know, seem to put things together. And I miss, you know, things I need to pray for my family, for myself, for, you know, others. So, I did take this situation off my prayer list about him going to prison, but I'll put it back on today. Like I pray that he doesn't get life in prison. You know, he's too young. His whole frontal cortex isn't even fully developed yet. You know what I mean? I don't think it would be fair. It's fair to the extent that, yeah, he should do life in prison because he took someone's life. Maybe even some would say he should get the death penalty. But I don't think that boy should go to prison for life. I just don't. And but that with the way that what's it called, the Action Network or whatever, the Justice Action Network, whatever it's called, that Dominique Alexander, a 10-time felon, is where he's taking him is to a life sentence, because they're showing, the family and him are showing no remorse. They're trying to justify everything. They're making up lies. They have a fake ass minister, race baiting the country, trying to keep as much money as he can. I assure you that's all he cares about, is that minister cares about. He doesn't care about my boy, like he calls him. That's all bullshit. It is. He only cares about the give, send, go money. Yeah, Denny Jackson says he can only get 40 max, and I don't know how much good time they have in Texas. I know it's not a lot. I mean, damn, you can't even play cards in Texas State Prison. You can't even play spades or pinochle. I'm sure some lower securities you probably can, but what I understand, you can't even play cards. So I'm sure they have a little bit of good time, but it's probably not much. Frederick, where's Frederick Hayes? Hey, Frederick, that was a gang sign. That the gang sign he threw up in that one picture when he's doing the VL. Was he doing a VL? I can't remember. I'll go find it. I proved that it was a gang sign. I mean, we can disagree, but it was absolutely a gang sign, and he shouldn't have been throwing it up. He shouldn't have been throwing it up. You know what I mean? You can't say you're something and then be in prison. But I get it. I get it. A lot of these dudes want to be gangster. Look, I wanted to be gangster for a while, and that was after I was a corporate guy. It wasn't the smartest thing for me to do. Like I was almost 30 when I wanted to be a gangster. And then became a gangster for real, and then realized that it's dumb. So I get it. I get it. Of the desire or the allure that it can have, especially when you're young. I totally get it. Absolutely. But it was absolutely a gang sign. He didn't accidentally throw up his hand in that way. Frederick says, for what he was as an assault and his belongings were taken from him. That's not, you don't get to stand your ground and kill someone for that. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I know what he was doing. KA in Baton Rouge. No, I'm not questioning your knowledge on what it was, but when we can agree to disagree. I was in a prison down in Louisiana for a long time, so I know what gang signs are too. And I'm not saying he did that for clicks or for to be controversial or anything like that. So I know what you're saying. I was in the federal prison in Pollock, Louisiana. So I understand. I was with a lot of who dat dudes down there. And a lot of gangs. But I was with more gangs up in Chicago. I was in a prison in Indiana that there was a ton of Chicago gangs up there. And, I used to break bread with those dudes. When it was Larry Hoover's birthday, I broke bread with them. Not that the gang sign he threw up was a folk gang sign. It definitely wasn't a pitchfork or no variation of a pitchfork. It was the other. I don't know. I wish I would have got the he says in Texas you can't. If that's what you mean, I think I know what you mean. Frederick says just make stuff up. Dude, no matter what you say, it's the truth and the facts and core, and that's all that will matter. Dude, no matter what say, it's the truth and the facts and core, that's all that will matter. That's all that's gonna matter. The facts is all gonna come out in the court. Like, look, this is just stuff to talk about, on a Monday, July 7th. You know what I mean? I just said I don't think the kid should go to prison for life. You know what I mean? Absolutely not. But that's good, man. I like a little heat in my chat. I'm glad it's there. Remember, moderators, like, we don't ban people for disagreeing. We won't stand for racism or any homophobia. So I appreciate everybody in the chat. Absolutely, 1000%. All right. Let's get back to this. Well, no, let's. Yeah, absolutely. Shameless plug for his book. That's funny. Hey, Eloise, good to see you. Oh, I'm sorry, Eloise. You too. I'm sorry that the subject matter is a little can be a little heavy if it's made that way. And Eloise, if you're still here, it's hold on. Eloise, if you're still here, it's just the news shows that the chat will be, there might be some disagreements and the subject matter might be a little heavy. But the when we do recovery focus shows, those are in recovery. Of course, this show can instantly become a recovery show if someone's going through something, and I will stop and you know close every tab I have and only talk about what someone's going through. So I just wanted to let you know that. But it's Carmelo. And I love what he just said. Let's be peaceful about it. Let's have the discussions. The person that's getting hurt the most, and that's what I'm reporting on, is that the person that's getting hurt the most is Carmelo. He's made some mistakes. He needs to just like be remorseful and show the court that he's remorseful, and don't turn it into a racial issue like he has. It's just what needs to happen, and it's too bad that it didn't happen that way. I grateful. I see you're telling me to read the chat. I know I'm doing commentary on reaction to the channel, but we're gonna end this topic right here. And yes, I will read the chat. I'm not muted. Let me see. All right, I love you too, Eloise. Oh, you guys don't hear the really? You guys don't hear that? Oh, because I'm not sharing the tab. Oh, okay, yeah, that's funny. That's funny. How long have you guys not heard? Probably for a long time. Okay, thank you. I just realized it. Hold on. Did you guys hear let's see. I'm just gonna play it from the beginning.
So we're gonna get things kicked off, man. Let me bring my folks up in here. I want to read this for you guys, and then I want to get your take on it. Dominic Alexander.
Just put a one in
he
the
wrote
chat
this post on X. It came out yesterday. It says, "Stop spreading the lies.
5 minutes. Okay.
Let's set the record straight. The amount of wild and false information being spread across social media is completely out of control. Carmelo Anthony did not submit a request for a court-appointed attorney. That is a flat-out lie. When a case is indicted,
Sure, you still don't hear it. Okay. All right. Let's let me just put it back on there. What's it called? Carmelo Anthony loses hope. Okay,
in
can I get a
Collin
5 by
County, the
5?
court system automatically generates an indigent defense. This happens
Okay,
for
right there.
everyone,
Okay, there we
regardless
go.
of whether they already have a private attorney.
That you have been out here playing on the black Negro that nobody ever heard of, regardless of where they stand, has been able to attract me. Let's anything when it read that we're all willfully been in a place with cameras and
Minister Dominique Alexander. It's
I just want to
not
play
put this in
this
the
gentleman and
heaviest
then
of
we'll end the
quotation
topic.
marks. Minister
Thank you.
Dominique Alexander. It's unfortunate, one, that the event happened in the first place, but two, that as someone who takes a title that anyone can call themselves a minister, all you got to do is start an organization. Typically, they don't go to seminary, they don't go to the church to just say, hey, I want to be a minister. And he could have actually taught in this moment. Right, something horrible has happened, something that I think everyone will agree, regardless of the skin color, it should not be a conversation we should be happening. It's very unfortunate. And as a minister, you could have come out and said, hey, one, this is what God says. Have not heard him say that not a single time yet, right? I've heard him say a lot about these are the racial issues associated, a lot about the community.
That's why I wanted to play this clip and talk about this as exactly what this gentleman's talking about. No one is putting God first in this situation. Nobody but us. I believe we are, even though we're not putting God, we're not talking about like, but we're praying that God takes care of this situation. I guess that's what I want to say.
Community, a lot about the family. I've not heard the minister at all whatsoever go to God and figure out how are we as a people supposed to negotiate this situation with the laws of the land. And he is taking racial ideology, politics, and he's making that the forefront. You just read it, Wise, and what you had written down there. I didn't hear a prayer. I didn't hear a scripture. I didn't hear, let's come together. Let's be peaceful about this and figure out what direction this is going to go. I hear a whole lot of money. I see a lot of cameras. I see a lot of attention. And at the end of the day, the individual is going to wind up being hurt the most from this. It's not going to be his quote unquote ministry. It's the populace. We continue to get hurt by some of the stuff that's going out there. It's going to be this individual who's on trial. He's the one that at the end of the day, no matter how much money his family raises, no matter how much attention Minister Dominique Alexander's ministry winds up getting, he's going to have to deal with the consequences. And no matter how much money they have in, it's not going to keep him warm in a prison cell. It's not going to keep him warm in jail or processing, whatever direction it winds up going. And I think that we're getting a bad example to what faith should be represented as on the world stage, on the national stage. And these kind of incidents are what takes us away from what God had intended for us. And I see no apologies for that. I see no remorse at all whatsoever for that. I just see someone who wants a large amount of money, attention, and to take the spotlight on top of him in this moment at the sacrifice of a young 18-year-old boy.
Well said. Jason, my question for you, what are your thoughts?
Well said, and we're going to leave it at that because that's all that needs to be said, is that God has to be first in this. He has to be, or else you're done. You're done. And we all know who takes over when God isn't put first in this situation. Show Carmelo Anthony paperwork. It's public record. Show us what paperwork. Show Carmelo Anthony paperwork. It's public record. Show us. I don't know what paperwork you're talking about, but yeah, go get it. Thanks, Wolfie. All right, so he's not. She'll would know he's not, and I think personally he's hurting the case. Donna Nichols nails it right. Absolutely. He's absolutely hurting the case. I did a whole video on it. I know I keep saying I did a whole video on this. I did a whole video on that. I only say that to not be redundant. They've hurt his chances of getting that 15-year sentence that I think he should get. And by all the race baiting, and by, asking for all this money for court and then asking for a free lawyer, which isn't an automatic thing like he said it was. It absolutely isn't. I don't know what paperwork Frederick is talking about, but the everything that's out there I've shown, and so I rest my opinion on that. We will continue to pray for this situation, and hope that Carmelo gets what he deserves and maybe a little less. You know what I mean? Because of his age, because of his emotional decisions that he's made emotionally, and hopefully that's what happens. I had so much more to show, but I just think it's just become a heated situation. Even Judge Joe Brown has come out and said some stuff. Maybe I should play this too. Judge Joe Brown called Carmelo Anthony a punk, which I don't agree with. That definitely doesn't please God. Carmelo Anthony for after indictment for killing. Now you know what? I'm not gonna read that. It's just too much. Because I would rather just end it on God than continue just to talk about all the things that he's done wrong, that Carmelo's done wrong, that his family has done wrong. Basically, it's not, the only thing Carmelo did wrong was the incident, bringing the knife to school and taking Austin Metcalf's life. That's really the only thing he's done wrong. He's still a minor. Yeah, he's 17, will be 18, but he's still a minor. And his family is responsible for everything that's happened since then. And it's been all bad. It's been all bad. All right, guys, let's switch gears a little bit. Man, I had so much more I was going to show, but I think that's enough for today. If I can, if I see another angle to talk about the Carmelo Anthony case, maybe I'll show the rest of the stuff that I got. So in Diddy news, yep, there's some more Diddy news. Diddy's chef has come out and made a kind of a controversial statement. And I didn't watch the whole thing because, again, like I've said before, I like to react to it live with you guys. Let's watch this.
Sean Combs' physical assault while I was employed by him. As someone who was a witness to the abuse towards Cassandra Ventura Fine during my time of working for Sean Combs, I would just like to say that this is a grave miscarriage of justice. And I would like to also address that last year on March 20th, I was contacted by the federal government. They showed up at my door with badges. I refused to speak to them because I was, as one of the actual,
sorry, it's in pieces,
about that visit from the feds. Terrified is actually an understatement. By April 11th of 2024, I was being contacted by Sean Combs' initial lawyer, Aaron Dyer. I have a voicemail that he left and text messages stating that Mr. Combs was aware of the visit from the government and that they would like to extend to cover my legal fees. These are facts. This, in my opinion, was witness tampering. I was supposed to testify this year on May 20th. I was in New York. It was announced. It was on CNN that I was supposed to be testifying, and I was pulled because I flipped out. on the government. These are also facts. I want to be very clear. I did submit my own letter to the judge. I stand by everything that I said. I knew that he beat Cassie Ventura fine in 2009. I know that she was dragged from the vehicle, okay? I know that I saw her 2 days later at the London hotel when me and one of his assistants brought her a bag, okay? This was a miscarriage of justice.
Yep.
And beyond any of this, I don't really have anything more to say. And I really don't know where to go from here. Just know that I am terrified and I am traumatized. And it's honestly, I did submit my own letter.
That's where she ends it. She ends it right there. The yeah, so she was supposed to be called as a witness, and it's unclear of why she didn't testify. She said that she went ham on the government. I don't know what she could have done. But she did do a response to this video because she had so much negative response from everyone because of this video. She did do a response to that video. So let's watch that, and then we'll react. Hold on. We're not going to have another I can't hear this moment.
I know that it's been very confusing to see my initial post about my reaction to the verdict and me saying that I was afraid. And I'd like to explain that, yes, being contacted by the federal government is terrifying. The fact that their visit happens on March 20th, and by April 4th, really, I was made aware that Sean Combs already knew about that visit, even though I declined to speak to the feds when they came. That's why I was served with the grand jury subpoena. So my thing is everyone's like, oh, that's not witness tampering, that his lawyers were trying to pay your legal fees. Now riddle me this. If someone has assaulted you in the past and they threatened your life because you know about them brutally assaulting the person that they are with, that's at the center of the case, why would you be offering to pay my legal fees? Riddle me that, okay? And I wasn't responding. So there are text messages, and I do have voicemails from that lawyer too, because they were trying to reach me. And now in the interim of me not responding, my car was mysteriously broken into. It's a smash and grab in this city, but my car, the alarm system was disabled, and the contents of my glove compartment and my middle console, everything that was identifying me was taken out and neatly placed on my passenger seat like a serial killer. And I immediately filed a police report and stated in that police report that the feds were at my house 2 weeks before, and that I believe that this was witness tampering and intimidation. And I still do believe it. So for everyone saying, oh,
I mean, we can't discount it, right? You can't discount that that wasn't witness tampering and intimidation. Or her car just got broken into, you know, it's if she feels that it was, then it was, you know, regardless if he was responsible for it or not. Now he can't get charged with it because there's really no proof that it was, but if that's how she feels about it, then, you know, then she feels intimidated.
Oh, he's not thinking about you. Oh, he's not going to do anything to you. Oh, nothing's going to happen to you. Oh,
no, he's
you're
thinking
being
about
dumb
everyone.
because now you're saying where you're at. He knows where I'm at. He been knew where the fuck I was at. So there's those details. And maybe that's the only thing where anything to do with me and I have to say is alleged. because I don't have proof that he made people do that. And I believe that he did because he wanted to control my interview with the government. Like Jane. What else?
Like Jane, because Jane's lawyer was paid by Diddy, her, which I don't understand all that. That's all confusing to me. I was gonna research it a little bit more so I could make sense of all of it, but
all these men that are stepping up now and that are saying, oh, you know, it was just a little prostitution. Oh, it was just a little this. Oh, it was just a little drugs. If you have to pump people full of drugs for them to participate in sexual activities that you want to do, that is coercion. And I don't think that they wanted to do it. And for multiple women over decades to have said that he raped them, I believe them. I know Cassie. She said it happened. I believe her. I know Mia. She said it happened. I believe her. Kat, my friend, said it happened. I believe her. And in some of the documentaries, there's a common thread. None of these women had spoke to each other. You want to know what the common thread is? Is that his eyes turned black and he looked like a demon. And so I believe that he was doing these things when he was out of his mind because he was a drug addict.
Or possessed.
Because he was a drug addict. He is a drug addict. Yeah. And
not
so
excusing it, but he very well could have
abuse
been.
and tantrums that us employees that were dealing with him quietly and silently were due to his drug abuse because he was a fucking drug addict, a high functioning drug addict. And then it's like, oh, why are you guys saying something now? And because I can now. Because I can now. And you know what? And I just don't care no more. And he's getting away with everything that he's done for decades. And all of these men that keep trying to pacify the behavior, y'all are predators too. So if you got to pump women full of drugs.
Absolutely. If you sympathize with Diddy and that he got what he deserved, he didn't deserve the rest, then yeah, you're a predator too in my eyes too. So I totally agree with her there. Absolutely. And I think most everyone in the at least in this community does too. Maybe we've got about 1,000 new subscribers this week, guys. So the community is gonna change a little bit. And the people that don't want to participate in love and kindness, will weed them out, as we go. So the numbers might go up and down. I don't really care about that, but I definitely want to keep the community safe. When I hear statements like, that, like Eloise said, this chat isn't good for me now, that hurts my feelings. And she didn't hurt my feelings in a bad way. It hurts my feelings that I can't protect the community and make it feel like a safe space for everybody. I see Grumpy Grandpa here, George Floyd, the crackhead, prime example. Wow, were these people not called for witnesses? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find out. Sherry, why wasn't she called? She was there, she was on the list to be called, and they weren't called. So, I can easily come up with a conspiracy to why that didn't happen, and maybe that conspiracy is true or not. Thank you, Sherry, for no hateful comments at all. We'll give warnings, but if they're hateful, then you might get a timeout. I just leave it to the mods to decide. You won't be banned. No one will be banned unless it's a racist, hateful comment or a homophobic comment. Danette, I see you, Danette. What's up? Do you think the feds will charge Diddy with any other crime? I absolutely do. There's definitely I'm saying this is fact. There's definitely going to be a superseding indictment. So all the people that are cheering for Diddy and are thinking that he got away with something or that they feel like he wasn't guilty of something, he's still going to get his. He's still in jail. They're not letting him out because I think, in my opinion, that there's going to be superseding indictments and that there will be a lot more charges filed. And that's probably why they're saving these witnesses. Look where I stopped that video at. I did not mean to do that. I'm going to screenshot that. That's pretty good. Oh, I messed up. There we go. So funny. Yeah. What's going on? What's going on in this chat? I'm not cheering for Diddy, but I think all of them were involved for the money. I mean, we just don't know where. We just Frederick Hayes says, I'm not cheering for Diddy, but I think all of them were involved for the money. Well, but we just don't know where trauma bonding starts and greed starts, or, you know, wanting to be famous starts. I am, in my opinion, in this case, of everything that I know and just my history and of being around so many people in the system with criminals, and then also having so many friends who've experienced trauma, including myself. We just don't know where trauma bonding starts, and you know, their desire for money and fame ends or starts. You know what I mean? We just don't know. And but that there's even, if there's even a little bit of trauma bonding there, then they are victims. Period. End of story. It's just too bad that the jury didn't understand that. And you know, from what I've heard, the jurors' comments that I've heard so far, they've been pretty ignorant. You know, that they're too black and white. They're too I get it. They could only go on the evidence that they had before them. It's just too bad that they couldn't present evidence of the trauma bonding that these women had. It's just, you know, it's our system. It's the way it works. We have to accept the bad with the good. So let's just, we won't talk about that anymore. Let's go to the chat. Let's go to the Chatty-O chat. Hi, guys. How's it going? Hey, Jimena, how are you doing? It's got some heated topics today. We are going to talk about a little bit later this afternoon. I'm going to do a part 2 for today of Alan Jackson has a new client. And when I find out more about that client, I'm gonna talk about it today. But I heard it's exciting. Johnson's way to Niagara Falls for real. Catch you on the next show, mods. We count on you. Thanks, John. I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, that's amazing. Going to Niagara Falls. Whew, I wish I was. So how are you guys doing? How you guys doing? If you have any questions, just do a QQQ. If you have any comments, just do a CCC, and I can answer those, or we can talk about your comment. I can react to your comment. Look who's here. It's Hazelbutt.
I'm still on summer break.
She's still on summer break. Have you been having fun? We had fun yesterday.
Yeah, we went to Oasis.
We went to a big swimming pool water park yesterday.
It's called Oasis.
It's called Oasis.
But I do practice swimming at my grandma's house.
Yeah, she
has a little bit of a deep pool.
She loves the water.
from the bottom to down there to like down to right here. You guys can't see that.
I know. Danette says, Sam, did you hear about Turtle Boy's numbers from Saturday night? All I know is that when we had the watch party for his live, that he had almost 50,000 chat members in there. I would love to hear the rest of the numbers. I would love to hear the rest of the numbers from the night. I'm sure he had probably $1 million in super chats. I'm sure he had an amazing night, but he deserves all that. All the success he's getting he deserves every single accolade, every single cent, fame. If he desires fame, he deserves all of it. If it wasn't for him, Karen Weed would be in prison right now. Absolutely. Everybody says hi.
Hi to the guys that commented.
She said hi to the guys that commented.
I don't even know how to read a little.
She can read a little bit.
I can read a little bit, like sight words and stuff.
Yeah, sight words and stuff.
But in first grade, I think I'll start learning
What?
words.
Yeah. He made $65,000 on one show.
Today, me and my mom are
Wow.
gonna have a spa day.
Wow.
And I already have
Wow.
my nails done with fake nails, and I also
Wow.
have my phone.
Man, Democrat 100%. You can see like
I
the
love
Stockholm syndrome or women in TV. Yep, absolutely.
My screen is
Yeah,
cute.
isn't she the best?
My screen's cute.
She's showing off her phone. I've had that phone for like 2 years,
But then I had it.
but then we
last
hid it.
year, and then he hid it in my mom's glove box, and then I found it, and then we charged it, and then I and then I had it, and then I charged it, and then it was at a picture of me and my cat. I make fake lives sometimes, and I put my cat in it all the time.
She puts her cat in her lives.
My little baby
Her little baby.
that he throws off the bed.
I don't throw her off the bed. Did you see her looking around when I did it?
I was like, "Ooh,
I love her so much. No, he had 65 grand watching on Twitter. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, man, I was going to go on Twitter today. Damn it. I forgot to stream to Twitter. Yeah, I know. She loves to be on the channel, Frederick. She just she gets me in a lot of trouble.
I do. Yesterday, I tried to get him in trouble because I was sneaking up on him, and then I went under the bed, and there was lipstick. So then I put the lipstick down to make shoe prints, but he wasn't stepping in it because he was rubbing my mom's back. But then I also put lotion down, but then he stepped in lotion, but he didn't step in the lipstick. But then I had to
I don't know what
clean
this is
it
talking
up.
about. Aloise says, did you guys see the Anna Welsh case? The police will be blamed if he gets off. Also, Norfolk County. No, but I'm gonna write it down. Can you grab me a pen, honey?
I have Newsbreak that tells me all the bad stuff in the neighborhood.
You have Newsbreak?
Yeah.
Really? Can you grab me a pen? No, but we'll definitely check that out. I definitely what's going on with the Crystal. I can't remember her last name. Or her last name is Crystal. It's okay.
I woke up at like 6:30 p.m.
Is she getting sentenced today?
What?
So no, I'm talking to the. Okay, honey, I love you.
No, I won't go.
Well, you can stay, but I gotta do the show. I think she's getting sentenced today. Watching the case on Melanie a little bit. She should be blamed. I thought it was a real to the meow. Oh, that's funny. She thought it was real too. It's my new cat sound. I know. I told you guys, man, I was feeling very sound effecty today. What else is going on, man? I know these subject matters can be hard to talk about sometimes, and so many people feel so differently on the situation. Sometimes people just want to be oppositional. I'm not talking about anyone in the chat. I'm just talking about like in general on X. Like I can Google, say I'm doing a little bit of a story on Carmelo Anthony today, and I can go onto Google or X and just put in Carmelo Anthony, and I will get 30 different viewpoints. And then so I try to feel around. Like I still had like 7, 8 more tabs to open to share. I can find ones that I feel oppositional about. If it's a big enough narrative that's being put out there, then I love to comment on it. But there's just too much emotion involved, and it's so crazy because like really all of us are detached from it. If it was a real racism situation, then I see where we could all be emotional about it, but it really isn't. I think it's all the racism aspects of the case is all just made up so people can feel a certain way. You know what I mean? And it's just the way it is. It's the way it is on the internet, on YouTube, and it's always going to be that way. But you know what? Thank God we live in America, right? Where we have that freedom of speech, as long as it's safe, as long as it's safe for us, for others, with the speech that we speak. Does that make sense? So I don't know. It's all a nightmare. All right. See you later, Woofy. It's good to see you. My other's keeper. Okay, I will email it to you. I start a bunch of emails that I needed to spend more attention to, like Jeannie Wright. Like I just wanted to answer as many as I could, but I starred. If you haven't received a response from me yet, it's because I've started and put it in a separate folder so I can answer them personally. And like, you know what I mean? But, instead of like just a stock, hey, thank you so much. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for subscribing. To where I can really answer it, with a couple of paragraphs or something. So expect that soon. But yes, I will send you my address, my other's keeper. Send me your mailbox. I have a gift for you. Okay, thank you, my other's keeper. I love gifts. Oh, Wolfie's dogs are looking for the cat. Jimena's cats were looking too. That's so funny. Well, guys, I guess that's it for today.
Today's our daddy-daughter day.
Today's a daddy-daughter day.
Basically, every day is a daddy-daughter day because my mom has to go to work really early in the morning.
Yeah, just for 2 days a week. So yeah, you guys have an amazing day. If there's anything you guys want to talk about before I leave, just shoot out a 1 really quick. And are you watching Turtle Boy later on today on Melanie Little? I absolutely am. I've been
watching TV since this morning.
I know, honey. Yeah, I'll watch that today. I don't want to do too many of his lives, watch party lives. When it's something big like that, where it doesn't affect his numbers, then I will. Then I will. But yeah, so I'm sorry if I missed your question. I don't have a way to do the commentary and star the questions for the end of the show. So I just wait for, you know, everyone to do the questions and comments at the end of the show. Frederick Hayes says, I will subscribe. People need to be open-minded because I don't think Austin should have died, but I'll have to wait until the facts come out. That's right. Absolutely. I appreciate that, Frederick. Yep. And thank you for the subscription. I really, really appreciate that. And remember, guys.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but remember, hit that like button down below. It really helps the channel to grow bigger and better and more diverse. Not that weird, creepy kind of government diverse. I'll Samsplain it for you if you want. You want to hear some Samsplaining? Just like the video down below.
Yeah. So please hit that like button. I really appreciate it. I do follow Sarah Fields. I had a bunch of Sarah Fields to show today. I just felt like it was getting it was feeling a little negative. And I don't want anyone to leave here with a negative feeling. And I don't want to, you know, start my day with negative feelings. So yeah, but I had 4 Sarah Field posts to share. So I love her. I think she's super fair. I think she's an amazing reporter. She worked for Jeremy at the quartering for a while. And she's a Texas girl. So she's you know, she's like the man in the field, woman in the field, on the ground, boots on the ground, whatever that saying is when a reporter is, you know, like on site. She's right there. So I do love Sarah Fields. I always encourage people to go check out Sarah Fields on Twitter. Maybe I'll leave her link in the description after I'm done. Because she is so cool. She is so cool.
Why do I have my own phone?
Yeah, Donna.
I sneezed it.
Stop it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, get off. So yeah, you guys have an amazing day. I'm just thrown off right now. Hazy's like completely distracted me at the end of the show. So yeah, you guys have an amazing day. I will be back in like 2 hours. I'm gonna do another show in 2 hours, and I will see you guys then. Hopefully.
You're not seeing me.
No, we will not be seeing you on the next show. You will not be seeing her on the next show.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. I'm gonna sneak it.
All right, I love you guys. Bye.
And
Real Fabio?
yeah, oh yeah, he's an idiot.
Yeah. Oh, I almost had the name.
So he's like, yeah, that dude, he didn't testify against somebody on a murder trial.